This is Tom Fryer, and it was my great pleasure to be part of the Kansas Honor Flight to Washington, D.C. for the World War II veterans on October 17th to the 19th of 2012. This first picture shows myself and the World War II veteran that I was escorting. His name is Peter Goebbels. He's 91 years old, lives in Kansas City, Kansas. He was in the Navy in World War II in the Atlantic Theater, and he was a crewman on the Navy's equivalent of the Air Force's B-24 Liberator. I think the Navy called it a PB-4Y. He was a radio man. They had a crew of 10, and they went out searching for German submarines, and his crew was credited with killing two German submarines. This picture, and I'm sorry it's not as clear as possible, but this shows us at the World War II Memorial, which was really the highlight of the trip back there, especially for the World War II veterans. Senator Bob Dole, who was from Russell, Kansas, made a special effort to be out there, and he greets the Kansas veterans. So in this picture, you're seeing the three of us, Senator Bob Dole, Peter, and myself. And again, we just had super weather on this, as you can tell by the sun and all that, and what a great way to celebrate for these World War II veterans. This picture, again, is taken at the World War II Memorial, and what it made it especially memorable for Peter is that his granddaughter, who's the lady in the center, as well as the daughter of his grandson, were able to join us. The daughter actually flew in from Nashville to be part of it. In the background, you see the pool and the fountain, and those columns. There's a column for each State of the Union, so not enough time to show all those in this particular one, but I did take one of us at not only at the Kansas column, but also at the Wyoming column. Here we are at the Vietnam War Memorial, and this was especially touching and emotional for myself, in that my class from the Air Force Academy, the class of 1963, we had two of our classmates that were POWs for a number of years, and also there were 16 classmates that were KIA, killed in action. At the bottom here you see the name Patrick Wynn, and he was one of two of my classmates that are actually roommates now that were killed in that action. Pat and I flew out of Travis Air Force Base and were roommates there at Ubon, Thailand. I was actually on the mission when Patrick was shot down. My other roommate was Doug Butterfield, and he was killed flying F-100s in South Vietnam. But it was just a very emotional time to be able to see that wall with all, 58,000 names on it. After leaving the World War II Memorial and the Vietnam Wall, we went out to Dulles Air Force Base to the Smithsonian out there. This is actually the newest Smithsonian. The old one, or the second one, or the original one, I guess I'll get my words right here, is down on the mall in basically Washington, D.C. But at the Smithsonian, the reason we wanted to go out there was we wanted to see the World War II airplanes, and there's many more airplanes out there. In the background here is the F-4 that I flew. Now, this F-4 happens to be a Marine version, but it still was basically the same airplane that I flew in 1966 when I was stationed in Thailand, and I ended up getting 102 missions in the F-4 and got a chance to share a little bit with Peter on my experiences, as well as hearing about his experiences in World War II. So it was a great sharing experience between the two of us. And then this is the final picture we've got, again, out at the Smithsonian at Dulles, but the Enola Gay was the B-29 bomber that dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima in August of 1945 and led to the end of that war. The war in Germany had already ended a couple months prior, but this led to the end in against the Japanese as well. And a quick story that one of the interpreters shared with us, but I think it was that particular day, there was a tour coming through of a Japanese, and a lady who only spoke in Japanese and had an interpreter came up, and she saw this, and she thanked the Americans for what they had done. And the interpreter kind of looked at her puzzled, and she said, if it hadn't been for that, millions more of my people and your people would have been killed as well. And I thought that was very significant for somebody to say that. But again, we've chosen this at the end of this because it was really the Enola Gay that helped end that particular war. And of course, what we're honoring on this whole trip is the greatest generation of Americans, as Tom Brokaw is very fond of saying.